What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching the TF Movie Show. This is just a web series. We're talking about the Transformers live-action movie franchise, episode number 11. And of course, you guys have seen the teaser for Bumblebee. You've seen my reaction for it. You also saw my trailer breakdown. And now I'd like to talk about it a little bit more. I want to give you a couple of my final thoughts about the Bumblebee teaser trailer as well as the Bumblebee movie in general. And this is after watching it, like, I don't know how many times I've seen it. I've seen it so many times. It's such a great trailer. It's so well cut, so well edited. It hit all the emotional notes. And I've been reading a lot of the comments, and I decided that I just want to make a movie. I want to make a video just to outline a couple of my thoughts before we move on to the next trailer, which will probably come out in a couple of months. So these are just 10 random thoughts in no particular order, and we're going to start with number 10, and that is the majority of the feedback is positive. This trailer has 20 million views, and the amount of likes and dislikes, or thumbs up and thumbs down, for the trailer on YouTube is really, it's really more towards the positive side. Like, lots of thumbs up, not a whole lot of thumbs down, compared to a lot of the trailers for, of course, the Transformers Last Night, which had a lot of thumbs down, and people generally like what they see, which is great, because you know that the Michael Bay films have really divided the fandom. You know, these films are my guilty pleasure. I love them. I have a love-hate relationship with them. I don't really hate them. I just think that they could be a lot better. But I love the first one so much. And this one really brings me back to the first one. And I think that a lot of people feel that too. It brings them back to the first one. And also even a lot of the haters can recognize that there's a good story to be told here. So the general consensus is that this looks good, and even the haters want to watch it. So that's a great thing. Number 9, the only complaint that I've read in the comments about this trailer is that, or this teaser trailer, is that it's still Michael Bay's vision. It's still, his version of Bumblebee, his designs, his design of Bumblebee, and how Bumblebee can't talk. So that's the only major complaint that I've read so far. To be completely honest, I actually feel that it's less Michael Bay's vision. Because the only thing that really is Michael Bay's vision is the fact that that Bumblebee head still looks like the Bumblebee that we've seen in the last 5 films, and Bumblebee can't talk. But besides that, that design, the way he looks as a Volkswagen Bug, it's a cleaner looking robot design. It actually looks like this is what a live action cartoon version of Bumblebee from G1 would be translated to as a robot in live action. So I think the Michael Bay vision and his influence is actually really quite minimal, to be completely honest. But a lot of naysayers, they're always looking for something to complain about. But like, besides the whole voice thing, I think this looks like a completely different film, and just the whole direction of it just looks really different from what we're so used to seeing. I mean, the Michael Bay films all look cool and very sleek and shiny, and it just has to look really cool, right? But this looks something more like wholesome, so I really like it. Number 8, another comment, not really a complaint, but I guess it could be considered a complaint, is that, or an observation rather, is that a lot of people are saying is that, why is Bumblebee so timid and friendly and shy and kind of scared when he's so aggressive in the Last Night, Transformers Last Night, in that World War II scene? Why is he like this? He's obviously very aggressive and a hardened fighting machine back in World War II. If it does follow the continuity of Transformers Last Night and the Michael Bay films, so why is he so timid and scared? So I don't have an answer for that, but I can come up with a number of theories. I can come with a whole bunch of theories, but the fact is that you don't know what happened between the events of World War II and 1989 or 1997 or whenever Bumblebee takes place. And you don't know what happened between then and now. I mean, then and then. So I don't think that it's a continuity error. But even if it is a continuity error, then that could potentially mean that the whole timeline has been retconned. Like, maybe they decided that this is actually a reboot without actually calling it a reboot, because, you know, Hasbro CEO Brian Golder doesn't want to call it a reboot because it's a very, very ugly word. People get turned off by reboots, so they're not going to call it a reboot, but maybe it really is technically a reboot, whereas they're starting fresh. So I'm not even concerned about continuity errors. I don't think of them as continuity errors, and if they are continuity errors, I don't even think about them, because continuity errors have existed for the entire Transformers live-action franchise that has been directed by Michael Bay. And so I'm thinking at this point, why does anybody care at this point? I just want to watch good standalone movies. I want to watch good and entertaining standalone movies, and I really don't care what has happened in the past and how things have been done differently. It doesn't matter to me. Just watch the movie on its own and just take it like that. And that's how I enjoy these movies, because I don't think about what has happened in the past. So it really doesn't bother me, but that's just me, okay? Number 7, is that Starscream or Ramjet? And I'm just thinking, why would it be Ramjet? Why, oh why are people saying that it's Ramjet? That's Starscream, but I'm only saying it's Starscream because it looks like Starscream. That's the only reason why. It could very well be a completely different jet, but all the evidence is pointing towards it being Starscream, and by all the evidence, I mean all the visual cues. The head is like Starscream. It takes place in the 80s, so he's like a jet of that time. The color scheme looks like Starscream, and while he isn't an F-15 Eagle, he is a F-4 Phantom, but that's mainly because of licensing issues. They couldn't get the F-15 Eagle. So it's not that it doesn't matter, but I don't see how people think that could be Ramjet. If it is actually Ramjet in the movie, then the only reason why you would say it's Ramjet is because you just guessed. There is no evidence that points to it being Ramjet, and you're just guessing. So you were just lucky that if you guessed it was Ramjet and it ended up being Ramjet, then you were lucky. There is absolutely no reason, there's no visual evidence that's pointing towards it being Ramjet. And if you said that you just read something, then you just read something that someone mentioned who got it from somebody else, who got it from somebody else. He said, she said, I heard from the internet, from some guy from some place, from I don't know where. You know, they just said it's Ramjet, so suddenly it's Ramjet. But let's just look at the video. I mean, look at the teaser. Is that not Starscream? I'm not saying that it isn't Starscream or it is Starscream, but I'm just saying based on everything that I see here, it looks like Starscream. So, and the only reason why it wouldn't be Starscream is because of what Starscream looked like in the first Transformers film and all the other times he's appeared later on. So that's a very, very different looking jet, but that's Starscream. I'm just going to say it right there. That's Starscream. And if I'm wrong, it's just because they decided to name it something else. But, like, that's the Starscream I know from G1. Number 6. We have seen this story before. Lorenzo de Bonaventura, who's the producer of all the Transformers live-action films, he was also the producer of The Iron Giant. And you could totally see in this teaser trailer where a lot of that influence from The Iron Giant has been translated into live action for Bumblebee. And this type of story hasn't just been shown in The Iron Giant, but a lot of movies like this. Like, for example, from executive producer Steven Spielberg with E.T. And also other movies like that involve autonomous robot. Short Circuit, which also came out in the 80s. So this story actually has been shown before, and while it may not be original, it's a good story. I don't care that it's been done to death in different forms and different times and different characters. It still doesn't change the fact that this story is a good story about a kid and their alien. And then the military wants to go after it because they're scared and they fear it. And you attack you're aggressive towards, or you feel hostility and negativity towards something you don't know about, something you fear. So that story has been done to death, but it's a good story, and I'm looking forward to them redoing that story again because it works. Number 5. You know what's very interesting is that people wanted more and more robots in the Transformers sequels from Michael Bay, but it looks like now they're happy with less. Isn't that interesting? Isn't it funny how that works? Isn't that ironic? Whereas after Transformers came out in 2007, which only had 12 robots, then everybody said, okay, we want to see less humans, more robots. So Michael Bay translated that as like more robots. Okay, let's give him more robots. We're gonna put tons of robots, right? So he kept on doing that throughout the sequels, and every time he put more robots, while a lot of people enjoyed it, we did see that more robots really hurts the story because you don't get any characterization. You don't get any development. It doesn't focus on robots. They're just background characters, which is what they've been doing for like the last 4 films. So with only 4 robots, like fewer robots, now you can really tell a story, a more intimate story, and that's what we're getting. So isn't that funny how that works? It's so ironic that in a Transformers movie, the less robots you put, in fact, a number that is less than the fewest robots, a movie with the fewest robots directed by Michael Bay, it already seems so much better. And it seems like something that people are actually happy with. I mean, before when they announced there's only going to be 4 robots, people were like, this movie is not, I don't think it's going to do well. It's going to be more humans and less robots. How's that going to work? But after seeing that teaser, people have changed their minds. They feel more positive about it. Number 4. Speaking of irony, isn't it ironic how we've established that when you have too many robots in a Transformers film, it doesn't give us a good story. We didn't get quality storytelling out of a Transformers film that has more and more robots in its robot roster. However, once they show us a teaser trailer with only 2 robots, Bumblebee and Starscream, and they show us that the focus of the story is centered on a more human story, we think that that story is more promising. It actually looks good. Like, we want to watch this movie compared to the Michael Bay Transformers films that have tons and tons of robots and explosions and all that. What is going on here? Isn't that ironic? We actually are welcoming a story centered around humans for a Transformers film. I don't even know what to say anymore. It's just completely bizarre to me. I mean, what do fans want? The fans wanted more robots, so the director gave us more robots. And now we get a film, a smaller Transformers film, with less robots, but more centered on a human story. A coming-of-age story. Charlie and her alien robot. And suddenly we're like, oh, this actually looks good. This looks like a good movie. I don't even know what to say anymore. You know what it is? You know what it is that fans want? It's just a brand new vision. That's what we wanted all along. It is a brand new vision. And not just tons and tons of robots fighting each other for no reason and hitting each other and explosions going off. We just want a new vision. That's what it is. Number 3, Bumblebee, which comes out in December 21st to be specific. It's going to have a really hard time dealing with the competition in December. Now, Bumblebee was originally slated for a June 8th release this summer, which would have been already passed, okay, 10 days ago. Now, having Bumblebee come out in June would be a very terrible move for Paramount Pictures because it has to deal with a lot of other competition, like superhero movies and Star Wars movies and Ocean's 8 and whatever. And, you know, with all the negativity surrounding Bumblebee, or rather a Transformers movie, especially being during the summer blockbuster time, that's a bad time to release it with all the competition. But it doesn't seem like December is that much better. December did work for Star Wars films like Rogue One, Last Jedi, and Force Awakens. They all made over $1 billion. Well, it doesn't seem like December is going to be an easy time to be releasing another Transformers movie. But really, what is the best time? Think about it. In December, we got Aquaman. You know, it's going to be one of DC's biggest movies. We also got the Peter Jackson-produced Mortal Engines based off of the best-selling novel trilogy. I don't really know if that's direct competition. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse looks really, really good. That comes out on December 14th. And then there's also Alita Battle Angel from James Cameron, produced by James Cameron, directed by Robert Rodriguez. And James Cameron's track record with films that are released in December. You know, Avatar, Titanic, while it's not directed by James Cameron, it's still one of his productions from Lightstorm Entertainment. Bumblebee's got a lot of competition. And it's crazy to know that Aquaman and Alita Battle Angel from James Cameron are being released on the same day as Bumblebee. So what are people gonna go watch? You know, on one single weekend, the average moviegoer is only gonna watch one film. So they have to make a decision between the 3 films. What is it gonna be? So Bumblebee being released in December, it's going to be very, very interesting to know that movies from so many different studios are putting like something really, really big. You know, Warner Brothers and DC Entertainment for Aquaman, and then Spider-Man's from Sony, and then Alita Battle Angel from Lightstorm Entertainment. From 20th Century Fox. So that's a pretty crazy thing, but we'll see what happens. Number 2. In my opinion, this is the right direction for Transformers. This is what Transformers should have been. I know that Transformers, the franchise with 5 films, has already happened. And I love the Transformers original film in 2007. And I don't want that one to change. But afterwards, we just got like explosion fest sequels, which, they're very, very entertaining. But the storytelling went down. Really, the storytelling just went down. It was formulaic. But this is what Transformers needs to be. And I think it needed 10 years to really figure that out. I think we needed a great film and 4 mediocre to not so good sequels, but highly exciting sequels to really learn that lesson for Paramount Pictures. It all really comes down to box office. And I think that this film, while it's not going to make nearly as much money as the other ones, it's still a lower budget film, so therefore, I think that with what they have, they can actually still be successful and also still be a critical success because of the simplicity of it. This less is more. So I really feel that there's really some high potential there, and this is really the right direction for it, in my honest opinion. If this movie does really, really well. And by that, I mean critically and financially, relatively speaking, then I want them to keep on going with these smaller films and not the really, really big Transformers films. I mean, you can't top and outdo Michael Bay's a grand scale of his Transformers films, but I'd love to see more personal stories, more intimate stories that similar to what they're doing with Bumblebee. Anyways, number one. If you like the direction of how Bumblebee is going, if you feel that Bumblebee looks promising and you'd like to see potentially greater storytelling, then you need to go out and support this film. All right? You really, really need to go out there, watch this movie, give it a chance in December, and buy yourself a ticket. Because we as Transformers fans, we want to see quality storytelling in Transformers films, because you've seen how it has gone downhill with the previous 4 sequels, and let's bring it back. Let's bring Transformers back to the magic that the first film gave us. I would love to see that. I think a lot of you guys would love to see that, and I think that the only way to do this is really supporting this film. Put aside your negative feelings that you felt towards the previous film and the films before that if you really did not like them. And, have an open mind and watch this movie. Because I think we're really going to see some greatness. And it's about time. It's really, really about time we got to see this. I know the next one won't be anytime soon, 2021. That's a long time from now. But at least we're getting Bumblebee in December. At least they can really take the time to really find a new formula that would work and continue to work. And this could potentially be some really quality storytelling in a post Michael Bay directed Transformers era of films. So there you have it. Anyways, that's all I got to say in this episode. I really want to thank you guys for all taking the time to hearing me out. These are all, of course, my personal opinions. And why don't you guys share with me some of your thoughts, because I'd really like to know what you guys think. I know that the Transformers fandom is still divided, but I really think that this film could be the savior of the fandom. I really do think that. I really do believe that. I know there are some people who think, well, it's Michael Bay production, that, you know, it's never going to be good. We're never going to get the films that we really want to see. Well, if you have an open mind, let's just put aside your feelings about the whole Michael Bay thing and let's just focus on the story for now. Let's just focus on the story before we focus on anything else like the way the robots look, okay? The story and the characters is the number one most important thing. And I think we're going to see something great. Anyways, that's all I got to say. Thank you so much for hearing me out. As always, if you enjoyed this episode and you want to see more, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation, also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.